Hey, it's the Hammond Guide. Anyway, it's Good Guy Griffer, and I've got another video for you. Also note that I will be calling Wrecking Ball by his actual name Hammond, because that's the name he should have gotten, and the people at Blizzard who named him were probably the ones responsible for the 2018/19 balancing. But anyway, in this video I'll be discussing his kit, playstyle, comps, threats, and synergy. But before we start, make sure you stick through the entire video to ensure that you don't miss anything, and if you enjoyed the video or learned something new, why not leave a like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps my channel grow. Let's get right into his kit, and trust me, there's a lot to talk about. Hammond has 500 health and 100 armor for a total of 600 health. His primary fire has 80 ammo, fires at 25 rounds per second, and each round does 5 damage for a total of 150 DPS. Hammond has damage fall-off which begins at 15 meters and will scale at a consistent rate to 2.5 damage per round all the way out at 25 meters. His primary fire can headshot, and it will take 2.1 seconds to reload. Hammond's first and most important ability is Roll. When activated, Hammond will transform into a ball. When transformed, Hammond received bonus move speed as well as removing his critical hitbox. While transformed, Hammond will also utilize a third-person camera instead of first-person. While in ball form, activating the ability again will transform you back to normal. Also, ball form will also be broken if he attempts to shoot, or gets hacked, slept, pinned, hooked, or knocked down. Hammond's second ability is Grapple. When activated, Hammond will shoot a grappling hook wherever the cursor is located, and if it hits the wall, the hook will attach. When attached, Hammond can use this anchor to swing around, gaining 100% bonus move speed when swinging. When you achieve a high enough move speed, you'll become a fireball, and any enemy that is hit by you will take 50 damage and will be knocked back. The grappling hook has a range of 23 meters and has a 5-second cooldown once let go. Also note that you can cancel your grappling hook and keep your momentum and fireball mode to move freely, but the move speed will quickly disappear. Another thing to remember is that you can only use this ability in ball form, so if you try and activate it while not in ball form, it will automatically transform you. Hammond's third ability is Pile Driver. When activated, Hammond will after a short wind-up time slam into the ground below him and deal damage and knock up enemies. The damage is 100 near the center and will scale down to 20 out at 8 meters. Note that the knockback is the same despite the distance from the center. This ability can only be used when Hammond is at least 2.25 meters above the ground and will automatically put Hammond in ball form. This ability has a 10-second cooldown. Hammond's fourth ability is Adaptive Shield. When activated, Hammond gains a temporary shield. The shield amount is 100 plus an extra 100 for every nearby enemy. You can actually see how many enemies are classified as nearby by looking at the bottom left. Adaptive Shields have a 7-second duration and has a 15-second cooldown. Finally, Hammond's ultimate is Minefield. When activated, Hammond deploys 15 mines around him. These mines are spread out further the higher above ground they are deployed at. These mines have 50 health, and when the enemy walks within 1.5 meters of the mine, they will explode, dealing 130 damage. But these mines take 1.5 seconds to activate once they have been deployed, and they can be destroyed before activation. Deployed mines will last for 20 seconds or until destroyed. Okay, that's it for Hammond's kit. In terms of learning abilities, I believe that he's probably the most complex character in the game, and I would highly recommend spending the time to understand exactly how each of these abilities work before you try and play him. But once you know how to use each of his abilities, how do you actually go about playing him? Well, you need to utilize every ability in his kit to be everywhere on the map and leave no area unpressured. You are the highest mobility tank in the game, and if you're going to find success, you need to utilize this fact. Getting behind and around the enemy is your best strategy, as you have very little to no frontlining ability. Once there, you need to harass and apply dive and kill pressure onto squishy targets. This in turn will gain their attention, which will avert resources from the rest of the team. You can also use your positioning behind them to swing into the tanks and force them into a bad position. On Hammond, you probably have the best dive engage in the game with your grapple swing into the air followed by a pile driver to damage and CC the enemies. In general, you use your mobility to apply constant pressure by harassing and diving targets until the perfect opportunity arises for you to strike and commit with a hard dive with your team. A moment where you're not being annoying on Hammond is a moment wasted. Okay, let's move on to tips and important info that you need to play Hammond. Your burst damage combo. On Hammond, you have a very potent burst combo onto squishy targets. Admittedly, it is a bit difficult to pull off, but it is extremely rewarding. You can grapple onto an elevated object and hit an enemy off with your swing, dealing 50 damage. And then once you are high enough off the ground, you can pile driver directly onto them, dealing an extra 100 damage for a potential 150 damage combo. Then all you need is 4 shots and a melee to execute a healer or DPS. Mastering this will allow you to have constant kill pressure onto anyone who will allow you to hit both of these abilities. Pile driver while near a ledge. If you find yourself in an engagement near a ledge, or you are able to jump off the map and activate pile driver and redirect yourself back onto the map. This will help you significantly in your duels by dealing damage and help keep the enemies CC'd. But do be careful that you don't pile drive off the map, as I've seen many people do this. It's pretty embarrassing and pretty funny at the same time, especially when it happens to yourself. How to commit your hard dive. Knowing how to properly engage a team fight is important on a dive tank. To properly engage onto a team, you should look to stage yourself in a location that will allow you to swing above the enemy, which will allow you to more easily dodge CC. Once you are swung above the enemy team, you can use your ult, but after that you need to pile drive down into the core of the enemy team and then immediately activate your barrier. Once among the team, you need to decide if you can survive there or if you need to run away. This will just depend on team comps and ults, but either way, you need to look to focus down targets with your primary fire while also displacing enemies whenever your grapple lifts off cooldown. Spreading your mines. Your minefield will spread out further depending on your height. If you want to create less pressure but in a larger zone, make sure to use your mines while you are grappling in the sky. Or if you want to apply heavy pressure onto a smaller area, use them while on the ground. Know the map and health packs. Hammond's playstyle often makes it very difficult for support to provide heals to you, and as such you will often get a lot of your health from health packs, so understanding just exactly where they are on the map will help you significantly. Well, that's all I have for tips, but what comps should you play him in? Well, the most obvious one is Dive, but he works best in a skirmish comp, as he's able to get anywhere on the map in seconds, which allows him to have a very active role in each fight. But what makes him so strong is that he can be played in any comp with success. Against a deathball comp, he can get massive grapples and pile drivers to give him ult insanely fast. Against Bunker, he can close a grap and pressure the long range damage threats, and against dive or skirmish comps, Hammond can be in every fight to put out respectable damage from a safe distance. Okay, so what about tank pairings? What should you run with him and what should you avoid? Well, the first obvious two are Winston and D.Va, as these combos allow you to apply the pressure onto the largest area, as either of you can dive a location at any given moment. However, Hammond's best pairing is probably Roadhog. This is because both Roadhog and Hammond are heavily independent of the tank pairing, and together they are extremely hard to kill, and make the best duo for skirmishing team comp. Also, Xayah is okay if you are facing a deathball comp, as it is a guaranteed 40 energy the second he engages, and she can help prevent CC onto the Hammond, which is one of his major weaknesses. What about heroes in the other team? Who gives you the most trouble? Well, basically your only weakness is CC, so literally anyone with heavy CC makes your life difficult. The three characters that will give you the most hassle are Sombra, Roadhog, and McCree. Sombra is by far the largest counter, as you are so reliant on your ball form for survivability, and she can just hack you and make you almost useless as a tank for 5 full seconds. McCree has slightly more health than other DPS characters, as well as having his stun and fan roll fan combo to provide a massive burst of damage that alone will threaten your life. And against Hog, there is very little that you can actually do to him that will make him stop what he's doing, and if he hooks you, you can bet that it will hurt. So just remember that if they have CC, respect them or you'll regret it. Anyway guys, that's all I have for my Hammond guide. Hope that any of y'all that stayed around learned something new or just simply enjoyed the video. And if you did, why not sub to ensure that you see my content as soon as I post it. I plan on making part 2 of Know Your Role, and I hope that'll come out within 24 hours, so it's just another reason to sub. But till next, see you then.
My phone lights up, but it's never you. I can't help but feel so